night, I think it was last night, there was a monologue that was done. And I have the screen recording, but I just don't think that I should actually show that at this point. So what I'm going to do is just kind of go over some key points. And then I want to show where the actual information came from. But, and I'm just going to say CK. I'm not going to say her full name or her full channel name. But she likes to do these monologues, or she calls them monologues. A monologue is actually a long speech that is given, and it is actually supposed to be your own words, your own thoughts. So I've looked up some of the other ones from previous, and I'm not even going to go into those because I think we all see a pattern with this. But basically, she starts off with the quote of the night, and she states, I hope you guys enjoy this monologue. I really enjoyed writing it, so I hope you enjoy listening to it. So she states that she wrote it herself. She did not say, I went online and grabbed some information that I liked and just put it all together, and then, how I want it to look, and then put it out as my own writings. That is not a monologue. A monologue is your own thoughts. So I always wondered, do people even know what a monologue is? I mean, she puts it out there. It sounds great. Sounds really good. Because she did not write it. She never writes it. She goes and she gets things and she pieces it together. So I'm going to show where she got her monologue from last night. There's several different places. But also, she, it makes me laugh because she calls her audience peasants quite often. And a peasant is an ignorant person. So everyone who watches her, she thinks you're ignorant. And she thinks you're ignorant even more because you praise her on her monologues that are not hers. And so I kind of went through it, and it makes me laugh because if you are a college student, if you're in the university, whatever that is, going to school, even high school students, you will get in trouble for plagiarism. You will get an F. And that means that you have to cite your resources. You cannot just say, read something, and then when someone quotes something in their article or in their writings, you quote it as if you pulled that information from somewhere. So not only are you supposed to cite the work you received, but you're supposed to cite the quotations as well. So where did those quotations come from? So long story short, there's these different programs you can turn writings into, and it'll tell you what percentage is considered plagiarism. And anything over 10%, you've plagiarized. Pretty much, it's not your own. You've not put these things into your own words. And hers was well over 50%. So I think she only had like a paragraph of it that was really her own words. But when you do a monologue, you are speaking to another character. It's really a dramatic thing. It's not, theater. It's not. It's And I guess, CK is playing a character because that's really what that is. She's just a character. She's not portraying herself. And I think that everyone needs to be aware of that. When you're watching someone on YouTube, most of the time they are a character. So what they're doing is not who they are. So it's entertainment. You're watching her for entertainment. She criticizes people. People watch her, give her hate views, or they watch her because they like the criticism. Whatever the reason, you're watching her, and it's entertainment, and you're watching a character. So I guess you could say it's a monologue, but it's still she's using other people's information. When someone in theater in a drama setting is giving a monologue, they're not they're doing a speech. They're not reciting things pulled from other people. And I hope that makes sense. But it baffles me. And then people praise her for it, and I'm just like, why don't you praise the person who actually wrote it? Just because she read it out loud, I could go on here every day and read you guys some great stuff that I found online, but it wouldn't be mine. It would be somebody else's. But if that's what she wants to do and if that's what her audience enjoys, I guess so be it. But, to me, I like to know the truth, and I don't like when people put things out there and say, oh, well, I wrote this. This is my work, and I hope you enjoy it. No, it's not your work. And yes, they may enjoy it, but tell us where you got it from because it's not yours. So she plays this character, she gives us a monologue, and the monologues, of course, are false because they're not hers, they're somebody else's. But, it's also funny that she believes that this $10 million lawsuit is to silence her. Even her picture that she had on the screen had tape, you know, X'd on her mouth. This is not to silence her. There are things that she said that were so horrific about Christian Andreaccio's mother, Ray. You can't accuse people of things. You just can't. When you accuse someone of something, then you are giving them, you're saying they did this, and you're giving them ammunition to come after you. And that's what I just don't understand. Why would you give someone ammunition to come after you? It just makes no sense at all. So I was going to go through, actually, I have some of it down here. She's not trying to silence her. She is just wanting her to quit accusing her of things. And honestly, it says in the document, in the lawsuit documents, that she accused her of committing bribery, which I remember her saying that she paid someone. Um, CK said that Ray's husband paid someone or traded them. They were supposed to get a certain amount of money, but ended up trading them for cannabis, homegrown cannabis, to say something about Whitley. Well, that is not factual, and you cannot get up on a platform where maybe you don't have a large audience at the time, a few hundred people, but what if you get 1,000 views, and then those 1,000 people believe it, and then they tell someone, and then they tell someone, then people are reporting on it on YouTube. So you have accused someone of doing something that is not factual. She also said that talked about that she got someone, and I'm not going to go through names, but she got someone to get another young person drunk to see if they would talk and get them to say something about Whitley. So, and then it says, on another occasion, the defendant gave the impression to her audience that the plaintiff, meaning Ray Andracchio, who is a mental health service provider, may have been responsible for the death of her son and another young man. And yes, you can say, in my opinion, I believed X, Y, and Z. So maybe that's the reason why he was having these issues, blah blah blah. But you can't just say she's the reason why. You can't do that. Not only have you caused issues, you know, putting out false information, but you've also have jeopardized this woman's profession, her online reputation, and her, personal reputation. You're accusing her of something that you do not have factual information on, just because you heard it from someone that somebody might have said it. And I'm not going to go through all the court documents and read them. I mean, I've posted them. So many other people have posted them, but I thought it was quite interesting whenever she also um, came out and pretty much in the document it says that CK said, "You're not ignoring me, Ray. You are very well aware of me. And you know that I have taken up for Dylan and Whitley. And I am a force to be reckoned with. I am a power ball. You've never met a MFer like me, Ray." You know, she also said on her speech last night that when she talked about David and Goliath, and that she has tried to meet in the middle using the Diamond Rio song. Honey, you're from the north. Please do not quote Diamond Rio. You have no idea. It just gets all over me. But anyway, you sat there and said that you have tried to meet her in the middle. No, ma'am, you have not tried to meet her in the middle. What you've done is you've called her out after you said these horrible things about her and her son and pulled in private information. My God, the boy is dead. Okay, maybe Dylan and Whitley need a voice. Maybe they have been having a hard time on social media, but it is not your place to victimize someone over and over and over again. I sure in the hell hope something never happens to your child and you are in that place of Ray. Something I always think about, you do not have empathy. You say sometimes you do, but you do not have empathy. You know, maybe her and her son didn't have the best of relationship, but from all the 133 screenshots I have, you could have been in that same position as well. Because I mean, without getting into your family business, you got some issues too. So do you want something to happen to one of your children and then you be put on the spotlight? How is this okay? This is not okay. And people need to stop enabling this woman. So back to the monologue. I do have some information, and I'm going to, let me see, screen share. Let's see. Okay. Let's see, I can't even tell if it's showing. So this is the screen, and so when she started her monologue about, I'm going to get in here. Um, This was what she read word for word. Remember the quote of the night? Well, this is her quote of the night. Came from Quote Investigator. And and if you go back and you listen, which I'm not going to show her video, and I have it even with the closed caption. So, word for word, she says this. And sure, she says quote, end quote, but that's when she is using these quotes. Like literally, here's your word for word. This woman, did she tell anyone? I'm going to read an article from Quote Investigator that was published on such and such date by such and such publisher? Or did she put that in her description? No, she didn't. She said she wrote this. She did not write this. These are not her words. Every single thing, and she even comes back to this after she talks about some other stuff. So, she also, when I put in the stuff that she read about JFK, so when you type in something that someone is saying word for word and you type it into Google, something's going to show up with a bunch of bold black print. And if all of the things that are showing up in bold black print, that means that came from that place. Now, she may have changed a few words, but yeah, she says, immediately after reciting the oath of office, President Kennedy turned to address the crowd. But she goes on to read all of this. Something else. She read this. Say where she got it from. So basically what she's done is she took, and then she goes back and she reads about Miss Dunn here. She reads some of this information. So basically what she's done is she started off as saying the quote of the night is, and then she reads all of this, and she jumps over to starts talking about David and Goliath, which you could put in what she said word for word on that. A lot of, I found like her first two sentences completely bolded in Google, telling me that yes, she did say that. So her entire monologue came from somewhere else. And no, she did not write that. You know, even when you're writing a paper or you're doing a presentation, um, and you take things from other people, you cannot base your whole entire or 90% of your paper on information you've retrieved from somewhere else. Even if you cite it, even if you reference it, you're still not going to be able to do that. You will get an F. You'll get kicked out of school. If you're at a university, nope, that doesn't fly there. I thought it was quite comical when she compared herself to JFK. Her fight for Dylan and Whitley is compared to the JFK inauguration speech. Are you flipping kidding me? So what she's doing for Dylan and Whitley and the accusations and the hate she has spewed toward the Androcchio family, no matter what they've done, but that for our country. This woman is doing this for our country. Yeah, you gotta be flipping kidding me. Oh my gosh. I liked how she said that, her first, when she started speaking about David and Goliath, she says, in the biblical book of Samuel, a young David defeats she goes on and on and on. Well, that all was not credited to where she retrieved it from. And I clicked out of that website, but it was word for word. She changed the end of it because, of course, she had to play in that she's tried to meet with her Goliath. It's really funny that she threw in that Diamond Rio song. I'm like, you don't know nothing about Diamond Rio. But as far as call, in reality, she did call out her Goliath, aka Ray, on her channel and on social media, but to antagonize her and to when she was taunting her and threatening her. I don't know. I wouldn't lower myself to meet her anyway. Why would Ray? I mean, come on. Why would Ray want to meet her or talk to her? This is a woman who's been spewing hate. No, that's not going to do that. I wouldn't do it at all. False accusations in front of hundreds of people. If CK thinks it's true and she believes it's true, then she thinks everybody else should believe it's true. It is true. It's factual. CK said it. Yeah, no. Go to school, lady. Go learn how to write. Write your own words, not somebody else's. Freaking ridiculous. Those who have tried to talk to her, that she's called out, other creators, other people in cases that she thinks she's covering, when all she's doing, you guys, all she's doing is playing a character, and the character is a mean bully. And you guys watch it and you enjoy it. And you think that is her. You think that's factual. I sure in the hell hope that's not her. I mean, could you imagine working with someone like that? Nope. Not But if you go back to the beginning, and I used to watch CK. I used to subscribe to her. I do not anymore, and I don't plan on it. But you know, she's done a few good things. I can give her credit on that. But when she realized, when the Watts case came about, and she realized that jumping on the unpopular side of the fence and saying controversial things would give her more views, whether it was hate views or, you know, people really intrigued by what she had to say. That's when she started continuously blaming the victims and calling people names. I mean, she's she will call anybody anything just to jump those views up. I mean, hell, I'm sitting here talking with, it says two people watching. I don't know who's watching. I really don't care. I'm recording it anyway. So, but for her, do you think she would sit here and talk with just two people watching? No, no, she would never do that. So I started kind of just thinking back about a few things that were said in the past and to now, and just the things that she said, and why why would she want to say things like that? It all goes back to the same thing. It's about the views. It's about the money. It's I mean, her monologue the other night, she definitely did not allow any other chats besides her members. It was a members only chat. Who do we know that does that? Oh yeah, KJ, Katie Joy. She does that about her in her chat. Well, nobody wants to hear or see bad things said about them. But don't victim blame people such as Shanann Watts. I mean, didn't you hear the infamous "she's a bitch" that CK spewed everywhere? This woman who was pregnant and her two small children are killed, regardless of even how they were killed, which was horrendous anyway. But she's a lockable victim. Hmm. Why would she say that? I mean, and not only that, you're going to call a little girl a brat and say you know for a fact something didn't happen. You don't know for a fact. You weren't there. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But you do not know. And then when people call you out on it, I didn't say that. Yes, you did. You said it did not happen. Well, I don't believe it happened. Well, just because you don't believe it happened doesn't mean it did not happen. And you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's just ridiculous. But also, she stated one time that Chris probably snapped because of all of the financial burden Shanann was causing. Okay, you said probably, but you still put the blame on the victim. She was causing him financial problem, therefore he snapped, therefore just because you say now things on the contrary doesn't mean you didn't say them before. You did say these things. You said a lot of horrible things. And I hope you change and I hope you turn your stuff around because, but I think it's too late, honestly. People still enable you. They're enabling you to use somebody else's writing and say that you wrote it yourself. Oh, that was so good. Good job. That was just so good. Well, because it wasn't hers. I just don't understand how any of this is okay and why you guys still follow her and financially support her. Every time one of her so called flying monkeys decides, I don't want to take this constant verbal attacks because CK's on her high horse today, they get the worst of it. I have seen so much craziness that this woman has said about her ex mods who were, or maybe even some of her ex friends. I mean, you guys can go online and look. I watched one where three people, and they were telling just all the different stories about the things that she has said and the things she's done to these people. Oh, it was it, I still cannot believe who does that. Who does these things? Like, is there something wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I just don't get it. cropping a picture to put somebody else's picture in it to make it look like y'all were together at the same place. Now that's weird. Emailing people's parents because they don't want to talk to you anymore and saying they're ruining your reputation and your business, aka your YouTube creator business, when they haven't said a word to you or about you. Yeah, it's just weird. It's just really weird. I don't get it. I even seen things where she tells people they're not worthy of her anymore. Worthy of you? Who are you? Because you're definitely not a freaking queen. I think you were the girl at school that was just a bully and didn't have any friends. And now this is your way of trying to be the popular girl. I just don't know. I don't know. I cannot put it through my head and I cannot get it straight. I don't know what's wrong with you, lady. I can't figure it out. But all the screenshots that I've seen of Discord, Patreon, private messages, emails, it is disgusting. Disgusting. Like, what do you do all day? You're playing games, you're talking this, you're talking that, you're talking about people, you're trying to dox people, you're trying to get people's private information so you can put it out there. You want to call people's jobs, you want to call people's families. Why? Because they don't want to be your friend anymore? I don't I don't get it. Or because you talk so much crap that they don't want to, that you're scared they're going to put out, hold on. They're gonna put out the things that you said in the past. Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. But the biggest thing that I wanted to show, and of course I'm recording this so I can post it. But the biggest thing I wanted to show is that your monologues are just as fake as you. But again, you're playing a character, right? You're just a character in the theater with your peasant audience. And remember, peasants mean ignorant, unsophisticated, lower class. So when you watch this woman, just know that's what she thinks of you. You are beneath her. You are unsophisticated. Pretty gross, huh? Let that sink in when you're watching her next time. Because she's not your friend. She might get on there and say hi to you, and she might talk to you in Discord, but behind your back, she is talking so much crap about you. And she's not your friend. Friends don't do things like that to each other. Friends don't call adults, parents, or jobs to try to sabotage them or spread lies about them so that they will, you know, you're talking about them running your reputation, but that's what you're doing to them. You're trying to make them, I guess, come back to you. Please, CK, I want to be your friend again. I'm so sorry. I'll do whatever you want me to. You want me to go onto Shanann's Twitter and post a picture of her brother in a compromising position? Let me do that for you because that is so, such a good friend. That's what such a good friend will do is go into a dead lady's Twitter and post a picture of her brother in a very bad compromising position. I don't get it. Don't get it. Don't get it. Literally, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Like I'm throwing my hands in the air right now and I'm screaming, what is wrong with you, lady? Don't get it. But you people, y'all, why do people keep watching her? Why do they keep enabling her? I mean, if this was your sister or your mother and they were doing this and like in front of your face, doing these things around, calling people's parents and calling their jobs and just acting a fool constantly, wouldn't you think something was wrong with them? Like I would. I'd be like, you need to go to the psych ward, lady. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe she's just doing that because it brings more views. It's controversy. I mean, critical K it's not critical thinking by any means. It's being critical, constant criticism, constant bashing, just being ugly. When people like that do things like that, and y'all have to know, she is only out for herself. She she's not your friend. She could care less what happens to you. If you died tomorrow, she brought a freaking monologue that's not even her own damn words. But she's not going to cry. Quit giving this lady your power. Quit letting her control you. Quit letting her dictate what you do. Quit letting her tell you and send you to do things that you know is not right. I mean, are you that desperate for a friend? Again, she's not your friend. Don't. There is a million other people in this world besides this one person. And always remember, if they're going to talk to you about somebody, they're going to talk about you to somebody else. I mean, that is what happens. That's just the truth. I don't know. I don't get it and I don't understand. I don't understand people's way of thinking because honestly, if I am sitting and I'm watching a creator, whether it's brand new or not, or a brand new creator to me or not, maybe it's somebody I've been watching for a long time. But if they all of a sudden go off the deep end and I know that what they're spewing out of their mouth is not true, I'm not going to engage in that. I'm not going to watch it anymore. I'm not going to get in the chat anymore. You know, I think I think she's very smart on the aspect of she knows right now what is drawing people in. So if I got on here and I decided to cover a case, um, I'm going to cover one of the cases that is probably more of a high profile case because that's going to get me some people are going to jump in and listen to me or, you know, want to get on the stream with me and talk about it or be in my live chat, what have you. Um, but when you start popping off things that you know is going to piss people off, then that means more people are going to come just to listen to it. Be like, I cannot, it's like a train wreck. I cannot believe she just did that. I cannot believe she just said that. She knows this. She knows this is going to give her more views. So why wouldn't you say it? And that's fine. If that's what you want to do, that's perfectly fine. I'm not into that. But you can say it with your own opinions and your own thoughts, not somebody else's, and pretend they're yours. But don't falsely accuse somebody of something. You can't want something to be so true that you lie or accuse someone of something to change the narrative to make that person look like what they've done is acceptable, or what you're saying has to be true. I mean, should I get on here and just make up lies about things that you said to me? Things I maybe I've seen you do some things outside of YouTube. Should I get on here and just say that? No, because that's a lie. You can't say things about someone that is a lie that could potentially harm them or defame them, or and I really think Ray has a hell of a case. Now she may be like, hey, as long as this, she agrees and puts it in writing that she's never going to talk about me again. She's never going to say anything about my son again, and they agreed to that, then she might, CK might get off easy on that one. But sounded like last night that that's not what she wanted to do. She says she's not going to be silenced. This lawsuit is not about silencing anyone. It's about what is right and what is wrong. And what is wrong is accusing someone of stuff that they did not do, or that you do not know for a fact. I don't know why I got off on that tangent, but the whole thing about tonight was the monologues. They just get all over me because I have an issue with people taking information that someone else has published, worked really hard on, and using it for their own and saying that they wrote that. She blatantly stated, and I've got it screen recorded. Like I said, I'm not going to show it right now, but I have it, and she blatantly stated in there that I really enjoyed writing it. So I hope you enjoy listening to it. Okay, did you write it down on a piece of paper? Is that what you mean? But still, if you write it down on a piece of paper and you go on and read it out loud as your monologue, you are taking credit for it. You took credit for words that were not yours. A lot of them. If you want to write a monologue, write one, but make sure that it is not plagiarized. If you want to read an article, all you have to do is, when you start to read the article, go on there and say, I'm going to read an article. It's from quoteinvestigator.com, published February 18th, 2014, by Arthur, or whoever wrote it. I don't know who wrote it. I haven't looked that far into it, but I know it wasn't CK. And then read it. And then if you want to read something else, I found this on Guardians Foundation on Facebook. It was posted on June 20th, 2020. At the start of the legislation sessions in the U.S. Senate, a daily prayer is typically offered by the Senate chaplain on April 18th, and read it, but say where it came from. Don't act like it's yours, because it wasn't yours. Anyway, I don't plan on talking about this woman, person, character anymore. But I just felt like I needed to put it out there and show every place that she pulled information from for her so-called monologue. I'm just a stickler at, if you say you wrote something and you didn't, you got the information from somewhere else, but you want other people to think that you wrote it, I have a problem with that. And I have a problem with people enabling this. Don't enable or reward bad behavior. And that's bad behavior. Freaking grow up, lady. This is not high school. You're not a child anymore. Quit acting like one. This makes absolutely no sense at all. I also had found something else I was looking at. If it even freaking matters. There was one of her posts that said, once again, wait for the truth. I'm doing the right thing. What I'm going through is a fight for all creators. Well, so you want to fight for all creators to accuse people of stuff? Because you did. Go back and read those court documents. You made accusations. But I also heard those with my own ears coming out of your own mouth. You said it. That's not false. And I promise you, they have the screen recordings, the videos to back up those documents. Those documents are not a lie. You said those things. We all heard it. Everyone heard it. I was interested in the case. That was the only reason why I was watching. Even though your voice just is like nails on chalking board to me because of the hate and the disgustingness you like to spew. And, on one of your posts, you said, if your son or daughter were in a maliciously persecuted and vilified on social media for a crime they didn't commit, you would want someone like me to take a stand. No, please don't ever. Please, if something ever happens, please, if anything ever happens to me, my child, anybody my children, anybody in my family, dear God, don't let this woman take a stand. Because, honey, you're not standing. I think you should take some time and reflect on you and this character you have portrayed. Because this character you have portrayed is getting you in a lot of trouble, don't you think? I do. Anyway, I will be posting this, and I will post it on my Facebook page for others to take a gander at. And maybe I will. I do want to do a video, and it's not going to be live, but I am going to do the video about how to file for divorce without paying for an attorney or using an attorney. And you can even do that when you have children. In my case, if you want to go back and listen to the How to Catch a Cheater video, that was just, there was so much, and I only showed a little bit of the text messages, but there was just so much. And when someone's caught red-handed like that, and you have solid proof that's undeniable, you really have the upper hand. So I think I really want to do a video on how to file for divorce without an attorney, and how to do it accurately, because a lot of times people fill out those documents and go to the courthouse. The judge does have to review them before you can um, even file them to file for divorce before you go before the judge. But yeah, and you know, usually when people get to that point, I was able to get him to even sign a waiver to where he wasn't going to come to court. Was he signed a document that said he got a copy of his papers. He wasn't even going to go to court. So I did it all myself. The only thing I had to pay for was the filing fee and the filing fee, because that's all you have to pay for. And then I paid for my um, stamped copies. But other than that, that's it. People pay tons of money for attorneys, and you don't necessarily have to do that. And like I said, I can show how to do it um, when you have children too, as long as it's not contested. If you're going to have a big battle in court and you're going to spend all that money, then that's contested, and you're not going to be able to do it the way I'm going to show. I mean, this is not going to be for people. I mean, I was going to have a big fight in court, but since I had my proof, and I was just able to say, "Hey, you want to get attorneys? You want to go to court? I'm taking you for everything, even your retirement. You know, I'm. It's going to be on blast what you've done." And you know, he didn't want that. He didn't want that on blast, and he didn't want me to drag him through court, and he didn't want to have to spend a whole lot of money. So I was like, hey, sign the papers or it's going to be worse on you. So I think I'm going to do that video, and I think that that will be helpful for a lot of people. Anyway, I hope everybody has a good night. It's time for me to go to bed. So until next time, be kind to one another. Bye, guys.